I'd learned about the Gestalt empty chair technique, where you have a client imagine a part of them is sitting in a chair across from them and have a dialogue. And then they can actually move into that chair and be the critic talking back to them. And so I was hearing about a lot of parts. So I'd have a lot of chairs and I'd have clients hopping all over my office. And it's fascinating to watch because people can really get into these different parts and roles. So I was trying to get my client to stand up to that cutting part and to, discipline it. And I just, again, spontaneously said, well, then why do you cut her? And the part talked about how when she was being abused as a child, it had to get her out of her body and contain the rage that would get her more abuse. And when I heard that, for the role it had to play, an appreciation for how heroic it had been in her life, it actually had saved her life. And when I expressed that to the part, it broke into tears because everyone had demonized it and tried to get rid of it, or at least manage it, control it. And here finally it was getting to tell its story. And so that made me start thinking, maybe these parts aren't what they seem. Maybe they are like children and families who are naturally valuable, wonderful, but are forced out of their valuable state by traumas or attachment injuries or the dynamics in the internal family or the external family, and are in roles, therefore, that they don't necessarily like, but they believe are necessary to keep the system safe. And that actually is now almost 40 years later, is that right? My God, yeah. And thousands of clients later, and now thousands of people using this all over the world, it's safe to say that that is true, that everybody is a multiple personality in the sense that everybody has parts, that it's the nature of the mind to be that way, to be multiple. We're born like that it's not the product of trauma. It's not a pathological condition to have these subpersonalities. It's just the nature of the mind. And that we have them because they help us in our life. They each contain valuable resources and qualities that can make life a lot easier and help us with whatever our vision is for our life. But that they are forced out of their naturally valuable states by trauma, and they become frozen in the traumatic time so that they don't even know that you've grown up. So to start, maybe as I was talking about common parts, you might be thinking about some of yours. So I'd like you to pick a part that you think is a protector. And most everybody's got a critic, so that might be a popular one to start with. But other common protector roles, many people, especially therapists, have a caretaker part that tries to take care of everybody else and doesn't let them take care of themselves, for example. Many people have a dissociating part that takes them a little bit out of their body so that they don't feel as much and don't get hurt like that. And so on and so on. So just try to pick a part of you that isn't one of these very, very vulnerable ones, I call exiles, and can get extreme sometimes, and maybe get in your way a little bit. So I'll give you a second to think about that. And now if you have a part in mind, I would have you just focus on it. So if it's critic, focus on that critical voice, or however you experience it, or with some kind of emotion, focus on that emotion, or just focus on it, and then see if you can find where it seems to be located in your body or around your body or broadcasting from. Just see if you can get some kind of bodily sense of it wherever it seems to be primarily located. And if you can't find it, that's okay. Just focus on however you do experience it. And then as you focus on it, I'm going to ask what might seem like a strange question, but how do you feel toward this part of you? In other words, do you hate it, or are you afraid of it, or depend on it, or want to get rid of it, or so on? So just notice how you're feeling toward it as you notice it. And if you're feeling anything that's blocking just being curious, just being open to it, and see if the parts that are giving you these other feelings would be willing just for a minute or two to separate and let you be curious, let you open your mind to it in a new way. And just see if that's possible. Just see if they'll let you become mindful toward it. And if they're willing, then you'll start to feel open-minded. But if they're not willing, don't force it. You can just get to know what they're afraid of. If they would let you open to it, you can spend the whole time just doing that.